considered being married until now.
But you have a baby.
Well, that's what made me consider it. Now I realize that, geez, life is kind of hard to go through it.
I don't
alone.
understand how. I don't understand. I don't see. This is what I don't. Hello.
Hi.
Why was that so hard? Why was it so hard?
I'm not exactly sure.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Hold on. I have to kind of turn you up. You're low to me. Okay.
All right. And how old are you?
I'm 38. I'll be 39 in September.
You had to think about that one?
Yeah, I don't know. You look about 43, 44, but I digress.
Really? 38, is that? Okay. Single mothers, high value men in marriage. What do you got?
Well, just about the age thing, sometimes I forget how old I am.
Let's check them eggs.
I bet you do forget how old you are if you always lying about that shit.
You got any kids?
I do. She's 2 years old.
2 years old. How old is your husband?
I'm not married.
How'd you get a 2-year-old?
Not being careful.
What does that mean? Condom broke?
What was that?
What does that mean? The condom break?
Oh, did the condom break? No.
Didn't?
No. He ran out.
He did what? He ran out.
He ran out.
You ran out of condoms.
Yes.
Plan B was not effective?
I didn't realize what was,
Okay, well that's fine. So you're 36 years old with a 2-year-old. I mean, 38 years old.
I'm 30.
38 that's why I said you're 38 years old with a 2-year-old. So that means by the time your child graduates high school, you'll be 54 years old.
Yes.
All right. So do you want to get married one day?
So I actually had this discussion with my mom last night, and I said to her, "You raised us, and I have two older siblings."
I need an answer before the story.
No.
I need an answer before the story. You can tell your story, but I need an answer first. Do you want to get married one day?
I'm not sure.
Okay. The bottom 91%.
She just wanted a kid at the end of the day. It's this argument that I didn't know that I could get pregnant, or I didn't know that it's possible by laying down with a man that this could have happened. It's just getting old, especially when you're almost, well, I think you're in your 40s, but you're almost 40 and you're claiming that.
Of black women earn 70. Are you in the 91% or are you in the 9%?
I'm in the 9%.
Okay. Do you make more than 85?
Yes.
All right. Now, adjusting for a child, you're going to have to, as long as you can pay for your retirement from 65 to 85, that's fine. That's the real question. So if you don't marry, it comes down to math. But a child is going to average, $250,000 out of your nest egg over the 18 years.
Yes.
Okay. Will you be financially solvent? Will you be financially stable after your child?
Yes,
For retirement?
I've been working with a financial planner since about the age of 23.
Okay.
So I even planned for a child before I had one.
Okay. So you got the math together, which is admirable. Most of them don't. But then the question is, if you're savvy enough to do that,
right,
it begs the question, why choose to do that instead of doing the work that it takes to make yourself a fit for a husband?
So I don't know what that means. And this is where the story comes in. I spoke with my mom yesterday about this. She was a single parent. And I said, Mom, you raised us to be independent, but you didn't necessarily raise us to be a wife. You know, why is that? Why was that left out? And she said a lot of times she learned or she realized that parents kind of force their views on their children, and then their children end up miserable. So she said, when you got of age, I let you make that decision as to whether or not you want to be married.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, even if I want to be married, I don't know what that means and what that entails. And, you know, my mom was actually.
And your mom, she was a single mom, so she probably don't even know what that means. She probably was along the same lines of you. You know, and it's a way of setting your kids up. I understand, let your kids live, you know, especially some parents do this, mother and father. They'll be like, do you, whatever works for you is that, but there is no, especially in a single parent household like this, she's basically seeing what her mom is doing, whether her mom is dealing with no men at all or just dealing with boyfriends coming in at night, smashing and dashing. She really doesn't know.
Married and divorced 3 times. So I said, well, Mom, you know, you were out looking for a husband at least, you know, and hold on.
Cass, I see you in the green room on eCam. But see, if your mother was married and divorced 3 times, whether she taught you to effectively how to be a wife, she showed that she at least wanted to be married.
Right.
Whether she was effective at it or not. But did you go to college?
Yes.
You have a master's or a PhD?
You
have a master's?
I have a bachelor's, but okay. I did 2 more years to.
I'm a PhD.
You know, and I'm a physician assistant.
You shouldn't care about this. You know, don't worry about saying the wrong answer. She's like, 2 more years. If you're a physician's assistant, I mean, you're still doing good, baby. You know what I'm saying? She's nervous that she's going to say the wrong thing. You know.
Okay, so my point is, ma'am, you're not an unintelligent woman.
Right.
You work as a physician's assistant, and I will consider that probably female colleagues are wives.
Including the black ones.
Well, if that's the case, ma'am, at 18 years old, it was your job to figure this out. Your mother's job stopped at 18. So to hold her responsible or to ask her this question in your...
And I meant to do a video about this. I knew a girl, a woman who's in her 30s, and her coworker was 20-something, and she said it's her mom's fault that she got pregnant. You know, and that's the crazy, and this is a woman's mentality. My mom should have told me that way I wouldn't have gotten pregnant at the age of 22, 23. Come on, man. This logic is ridiculous.
Mid-30s is half your life too late.
But I never considered being married until now.
But you have a baby.
Well, that's what made me consider it. Now I realize that, geez, life is kind of hard to go through it alone.
I don't see, this is what I don't understand.
I realize now that I had a baby that I should have a husband or be married at the tender age of 38, and you just had a kid? Come on, man.
You ladies are the most educated, freest of any group of women. And women, my grandmother's generation with 4th grade educations knew to get married before reproducing. Because it's hard to raise one child. And you cannot tell me that you did not know that. I refuse to accept that you were ignorant. I can't accept that, ma'am.
Okay. I mean, you may not accept it, but
what state do you live in?
New York.
What state do you? New York. New York City?
Yeah. I live in Queens.
Okay, congratulations. You needed a king though. Did you go to public school?
No, my mom sent me to private school my entire life.
Okay, was there tuition that needed to be paid?
Yes.
All right, so private school was, for most people, a step up from public school.
Right.
Mhm.
Thank you. In public school, you learn health, science, you learn basic reproduction. You learn these things,
This
ma'am.
dude.
See, the way you ladies tell the story is because no one sat me down and taught me how to be Betty Crocker.
Right.
Then I walked out here in the world and didn't know. But you grew up in popular culture where you saw a husband, a wife, children, house, picket fence, everything else. You know that exists. And you've gone from 18 to almost 40. And you're saying that until I physically had a baby, it never dawned on me to be your wife. How is that possible?
Look at her face though. She's like dead ass serious. Look at her face.
Well, because also on top of that, in watching your content, I realized I never knew the value of a man, because growing up, I was raised by my mom, my aunts.
You never knew the value of a man. Okay, maybe not a man in that. Maybe not a man in the house. But when was your last relationship before your child's father?
It was 8 months before that.
How long was that relationship?
8 months.
What's your longest relationship as an adult?
A year.
Okay, then you're socially awkward. There we go. Socially awkward.
I wouldn't say she's socially awkward. Maybe she just tried to dominate the relationship, and she may not be choosing the right guy. A lot of times these successful women sometimes, and I'm not saying it's just black women, but for the most part, these women will choose guys that are less than them a lot of times, or who aren't as educated or whatever, just because they'll have a leg up. So the guy probably just couldn't deal with you, and the same thing with the baby daddy, probably just couldn't deal with you. This whole, I don't know the value. You just said the value of a man. You never realized the value of a man other than him shoving pipe in you.
Let me just say that I went to only private Christian schools.
Girl school.
And
I grew up Christian, but ma'am, you're social. My point is still a year relationship, and this is why I say guys tend to avoid, high value men tend to avoid women who are in law, medicine, nursing, because you've been able to live and earn enough money to where you've been shielded from the realities of needing to couple. I get it. This has been an interesting story,
Right.
but still, ma'am, you're an educated woman, and you had to, I don't care how, where you grew up, you were around enough women who you saw had husbands, and you should have done your homework. This was on you to learn. Even if your mother dropped the ball, she tried 3 times and failed. After 18, any of you say over half of the women you work with got husbands,